So after a promising performance against the Cleveland Browns in week 1, the Dallas Cowboys have had their fair share of struggles in the last 2 weeks, including their most recent game against the Baltimore Ravens at home. And I'm here to give my overall thoughts and opinions as if to what Dallas needs to do and what they must do to have success moving forward for the season and to have some success in the playoffs. Welcome back to the Voiceovers Podcast. I'm 24K Logan. So for the people who are new to the channel, I do want to say I am a Dallas Cowboy fan. However, I am not in denial. I try to be as objective and as unbiased as possible, so don't even worry. Now, there's two things that I wanted to focus on in this video, but the main thing and what has had me very upset, even going back to last year against Green Bay in the wild card game, is our run defense. The lack of ability to stop the run game. It almost seems as if the Cowboys defense does not have a soul when it comes to stopping the run. And that's no disrespect to the players. I'm just calling it how I see it and speaking from the perspective of a fan, right? As a lifelong fan for that matter. Now, just to read off some numbers, let's go back to last year in the wild card game against Green Bay. Dallas allowed 143 yards on the ground. Last week, not last week, but 2 weeks ago against New Orleans, 190 yards on the ground. And against Baltimore, 274 yards on the ground. Now, as a Cowboy fan, it is very frustrating to see that, right? Because you would think that we try to spend the off season making those adjustments, especially with getting a new defensive coordinator in Mike Zimmer. You would think that Dallas would find ways to improve their schemes and improve their game plan and how they're going to stop the run game, right? You would expect it to get better, or at least hope for it to get better. And so far, that is not the case. It's not the case at all. One thing that scares me, and I'll say that this scares me the most, right? When you talk about the playoffs, right? The best teams in the NFC, the teams who are serious playoff contenders, maybe even serious Super Bowl contenders, the best teams in the NFC, whether it be the Lions, the Falcons, the Packers, the Saints, the 49ers, the Eagles, they are built and equipped to run the football. And if they know that the Cowboys have gone an entire regular season of, lacking being able to stop the run, if they know that they are non-efficient against the run game on defense, each team will pick on them, bully them, and they will use that to their advantage. And that is what scares me the most about Dallas right now. Now, I am concerned about the run game, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But between the run game on offense and the run defense, if you're going to ask me what do I think is more concerning, it's our run defense. Because again, every team or most of the top contenders in the NFC are built to run the football. And I feel that that is something that they will take advantage of and use to their ability in the playoffs, especially against Dallas. Just briefly talking about our run offense, or our run game on offense, right? 68 yards against New Orleans on the ground and 51 yards against Baltimore on the ground. Now, between the three running backs that we have, bringing back Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, I don't know what the plan or what the identity is right now for the Cowboys on offense when it comes to the run game. Going into the season, I was hoping that between the three of them, we would either have a 1,000-yard rusher or at least have 1,000 yards rushing on the season as a team. Not that I'm so focused on the stats, but even in today's NFL, having a 1,000-yard rusher, I think, is somewhat decent, because it shows to an extent, right, that you can control the clock by having a run game. And that is the biggest benefit of having a decent run game, is you control the clock. And that kind of goes hand in hand with our run defense. When they can't stop the run, they allow the opponents to control the clock. But getting back to the offensive side of the ball and just how that ties into our overall game plan on offense to begin with, right? Dak Prescott is a damn good quarterback. I would say a great quarterback, at least when we're talking about statistics, right? And intangibles and whatnot, and just overall talent and ability. I have made an argument for Dak being a top 6, top 5 quarterback in the NFL, especially based off of last season and the numbers that he put up, and him being like second place for the MVP conversation, if you will, right? But I don't care who you are at quarterback. I don't care if you're Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Dan Marino, whoever. If you're asking your quarterback to constantly throw for 400 yards a game, 5 touchdowns, constantly get in a shootout with the opposing quarterback, if you're asking your quarterback to do that every single game, all because you lack a run game on your offense, that's not a winning formula. And then once again, you add that to our inability to stop the run game on our defense. So it's just a losing formula altogether. And just talking about the mentality and the heart and soul of the franchise right now, particularly with the players, I just see, and I think I talked about this briefly in the last video that I did on the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, I had my boy King Ironic in that video with me, but it's one of those things, like, you see a team that almost looks soulless out there. They get punched in the mouth early, and if they don't jump off to a lead first, it's difficult to damn near impossible for them to make a comeback. Now, we did see Dallas come back in the fourth quarter against Baltimore, or almost come back, but it was too little too late. And I'm sure you all would agree it was too little too late, right? I think the only positive out of that is that Dak Prescott was getting everybody involved, not just CeeDee Lamb. He threw a touchdown pass to Cavante Turpin. He was able to move the ball around to different players. Jalen Tolbert also. So it's one of those things where I think when you're talking about the passing game, I think that Dallas on offense, the passing game will continue to improve. I think CeeDee Lamb will be back to top-notch shape within the next week or so. And that chemistry and that connection between him and Dak will come back together. They'll put all differences to the side. This is just what I think. They'll put all differences to the side, focus on the greater good, and we'll be back to seeing that dynamic quarterback and wide receiver duo between Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. That's what I expect, right? And I also expect Dak to get Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, Cavante Turpin, and Jake Ferguson. I expect to get all of those guys involved. We're going to have to get everybody involved on the offense, not just CeeDee Lamb. That is what's going to help this Dallas offense kind of make up, to a degree, make up for the lack of run game while we're still improving that. But overall, those are just some of my brief thoughts and opinions on what I think Dallas has to do moving forward. But I think, again, the biggest concern and the biggest thing that they need to figure out, and they need to figure it out ASAP, is the run defense. Again, all of the best teams in the NFC are built to run the football no matter who they play. And if they see that Dallas defense is very weak against the run game, they will take advantage of it. And it's just going to be a sad day for the Dallas Cowboys. They have to fix the run game. But I appreciate everybody so much for watching this video. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We got plenty of content on the way. Comment down below what you think the Cowboys have to do moving forward and what is your biggest concern. Thank you again so much for watching. And until next time, peace and love to everybody.